Mandela's former spokesperson and long-time personal friend, Udo Froese. Good afternoon, Udo. Always a pleasure seeing you on the SABC News Desk.
Thank you.
Sadly, under sad circumstances today. Now, you had a long, close relationship with Winnie Mandela. Can you just share some of the highlights for us during those long years?
First of all, I need to say that she was a stunningly looking woman. She was extremely intelligent too. She was a mind of a razor blade, very, very sharp, and indeed a very caring woman. As a person that I know her very well for a long time. I was the driver to Winnie and Nelson Mandela in 1990 at the independence celebrations of Namibia in Windhoek then. When the Mandelas arrived a bit late after midnight on the 21st of March, the entire stadium was packed to capacity, rose like one person. It gave the Mandelas a standing ovation. And whenever I traveled with Winnie Mandela, she was, for example, we traveled to Lagos in Nigeria. We couldn't leave the airport building because there were so many people outside wanting to greet her.
And this was it about Mama Winnie. Wherever she went, crowds would gather to welcome her and engage her. What do you think made her resonate so deeply with so many, not only at home, but across the continent, Udo?
Not only across the continent. I have a sister who lives in Italy who speaks highly of Winnie Mandela, for example. She was known throughout the world, particularly in the African American community in the US, in the diaspora in general. She was very well known and highly respected. There was always the difference between black and white, and Africans really supported and loved her. And the white people were not sure about it. And towards the end, they realized how intelligent she really was. In fact, I believe that she must have been more intelligent than her former husband, late Nelson Mandela.
Why do you say that, Udo? Because it's always been a point of contention for so many in the country.
Of course.
For many years.
It would be, because she was not fitting into a certain mindset. And that certain mindset was not pro Winnie Mandela, but pro Nelson Mandela. He said the right things, and according to them, she did not say the right things. So that is my reason also why they most likely had to part. But she was very loved, and I know for a fact that Nelson Mandela loved his former wife to his last breath. And his real big love was Winnie Mandela. And in Namibia, for example, she looked ravishing, absolutely stunning. And another highlight for me with her was when my mother passed away in 2006, September. She and Zinzi attended the funeral in Windhoek, Namibia. I'm from Windhoek, Namibia, and she and her family came to be by my side during the funeral of my mother. That evening, then President and founding father of the nation of Namibia, Samuel Yuma, hosted us. And it was very, very special to see them all together.
You knew her during some critical years, and we just want to gauge an understanding or get a sense of the role Winnie Mandela played in the lives of young black revolutionaries and the overall liberation struggle in the country at that point.
As a not so young white man to speak for and on behalf of the black youth is a bit challenging, I would think. I don't think that I have the authority or the capacity to speak for and on behalf of the black youth. However, I believe at the same time that she was very popular, and she remained popular throughout. She was more than just a politician. She was more of a mother of the nation. She was really somebody who was dearly cherished and loved, not only in South Africa, in Zambia, in Botswana, in Namibia, in Angola, in Mozambique, in Lesotho, in Swaziland. King Mswati, that was King Mswati's favorite mother as well. He's 50 this year, so he was speaking highly of Mama Winnie Mandela, for example.
There was never an area too dangerous or too overly policed for Winnie Mandela to venture there. Speak to us of the fearlessness and courage she showed, not only on the public stage, but in her personal life as well.
That's correct. She had bite. She was strong. She was intelligent, and she knew it. She knew her strength, and I'm sure she knew that she was also a very pretty, attractive woman. Because beauty also devastated all the other women at the same time, and I actually unsettled the women of the ANC Women's League at that time in the 1990s. And she just put her foot down, and that was she. She arrived. She had arrived. She had great capacity, and she had a larger-than-life personality. And she had a huge sense of humor. I remember when I visited her in hospital, we talked about certain developments in the US with Barack Obama and the then President Mugabe of Zimbabwe. And we laughed so much, the entire bed shook like an earthquake with her laughing, roaring with laughter, for example. And she always had anything small that would enlighten her, she would always listen to laugh, and big laughter, and that was she made you relax. She made you feel good. She made you feel cared for. But if she was angry at you, she would sneer at you. Her laughter became a bit of a change. Laughter actually interpreted her mind at every time.
Did you manage to speak to her in recent days and recent months? We know she was quite ill. What was her spirit like? Was she still upbeat? Was she
Very
still
upbeat.
optimistic?
Optimistic.
She did
indeed.
accompany the president on the voter registration campaign
And what was very
month.
beautiful was
Yes.
when in December last year, all the delegates there, when she sat down, they broke into song and dance for her, and that to me was a beautiful gift of thank you.
She celebrated her 80th birthday in September last year. Were you there?
I was there, yes.
Yes, and what was that like?
It was the year before last. It was actually very, very beautiful.
Yes.
It was held in various places in Cape Town and in Johannesburg. And I just want to put in a word of what I remember. She was asked many years ago, over 10 years ago, she was asked where would she like to be buried when she passes on in Soweto.
What did she say to them?
She then said she would like to be buried at Avalon graveyard.
I see. Thank you, Udo, for your contributions right here on the SABC News Desk. Unfortunately, we had to meet again under some sad circumstances, but we do appreciate the time you've made for us on this especially difficult day. Well, more tributes pour in from ANC colleagues. Let's take a look at that.
Condolences to the Mandela family and indeed South Africans at large for the loss of a great heroine, somebody who has made a very significant impact and contribution to what we have today as a democratic South Africa. But somebody who should also inspire all of us to learn what it means to sacrifice for the country, to be brave in doing so, to stand up for what is the truth, and be willing to say that I'm willing to give my life if need be and my freedom, as Winnie Mandela did, so that others can actually benefit. So it's a sad occasion for all of us, but I hope it will also serve as an inspiration for younger generations of South Africans, and because he is a person that they could certainly emulate in every sense of the word.
Look to